My name is Amy Zander, and I am the owner of Zeedia Media and the co-founder of brandarchetypes.com. I am so excited that you found me, that you found this webinar, and that you are about to take this journey to create an amazing, bold, and brave brand. That is our goal, right? And I'm also going to teach you about what brand archetypes are, what the process is for figuring out yours, and then once you figure it out, what are you going to do with it? So let's get started. When I first started my business, I didn't have a great name and I didn't really have a great brand, which I know sounds a little bonkers because I am a marketing agency, but at the beginning of my business, I didn't know exactly what I was doing, just like every business owner out there ever. So I created a really quick name. It was called Zander Management. So based on my last name, managing, I don't know what I was thinking I was managing. And I got a tax ID number, got a website, started my business cards and started getting clients and started making money. And then I got this really amazing mentor who taught me about brand archetypes and this whole thing that we're going to talk about today. And that really changed the way that I looked at my business and the way that I looked at all of my clients' businesses from then on out. And one of the things that I love about brand archetypes is that it is the opposite of what you would think you would get if you hired a marketing agency to come in and do a rebrand for you. So a lot of times people think that that means that you're going to hire a marketing agency and pay them thousands of dollars. They're going to spend weeks with you looking at everything. Maybe they do it virtually and you don't even really get to know them, or they really don't really get to know you. But they're going to do a whole bunch of investigative stuff. They're going to do some research and they're going to put this really big document together. They're going to charge you thousands of dollars for it. They're going to hand you this document and they're going to say, hey, here's your new brand. Thanks for the check. And they're going to walk away. And you're probably going to be like, that's a big document. That feels like about what I paid for. And you're probably going to set it to the side and you're going to go back to work because you have work to do and you're not a marketing expert and you're not a brand expert. And marketing can be really hard, and I know that it can really suck. It can suck the life out of your business because marketing isn't what you wanted to do when you started your business. It was whatever it is that you're amazing at and you're an expert at. So my goal is to make your brand and your marketing as easy and as simple as possible. The opposite of what I just described for a rebrand. And the opposite of that is one word, one emotion, and one thing that you only have to worry about in your marketing from here on out in your brand. And even though it's simpler, it's going to make your brand much better, much more powerful, and consistent, and people are going to remember you. Sounds good? Before I dive into what the heck an archetype is and why you need one and how you use it once you get one, I do want to just clarify that the brand archetype process can work for any type of business. Whether you're a solopreneur, have a small team, just getting started, been in business for a while, or a much larger company. It works across the board, and at the end of this webinar, you will understand the power of it and why it can work for exactly where you are in your business. What is an archetype exactly? An archetype is a universally understood concept that evokes emotion and is powerful. So what does that mean? Universally understood means that everybody on earth understands the concept in the same way. So, for example, if I were to ask anybody on earth in their language to give me some adjectives or words that describe a mother, most people would say warm, caring, nurturing, those types of things. Despite how you might have a relationship with your own mother, those are generally the words that people use to describe a mother. So that's what universally understood means. We all describe it in the same way. There are 12 basic archetypes, and there's variations of those. There's other archetypes. They are certainly not the only archetypes, but this is what we start with the brand discovery session is these 12, and then we can dive deeper into nuances. But just for clarification and sake of ease, we're going to stick to the 12 for right now. So they are universally understood. They are powerful. The reason they're an archetype is because they're universally understood, and they exist in all cultures on earth, and they evoke an emotion. So that is one of the things that people miss about brand. When you say, what is brand? A lot of people think that brand is your logo, your colors, your tagline, things like that. That's not really your brand. Those are called brand assets that support your brand. But the biggest piece of brand that most people miss is that your brand should be based on an emotion, one particular emotion. You can't have a lot of emotions. You can't have all the feels because then your brand's just diluted and you're like everybody else anyway. So the beauty of a brand archetype is that each one of them conveys a certain emotion. And if you use that emotion to convey your marketing, then people will remember you. Maya Angelou said, "I've learned that people will forget what you said, people forget what you did, but people will never forget how you make them feel." And this is a really powerful statement, and this is at the core of every good brand. Your clever slogan may be a big part of that, but it's not the overall feeling that every aspect of your brand conveys. You want to own more of the mind share of your industry. So what mind share is that you are top of mind or come to everybody's mind first when your type of business is mentioned. And again, this can apply to any sort of business, big or small, local, online, anything like that. But here's a really great example. So if I were to say to you, think of a fast food brand, what's the one that comes to mind? McDonald's. I bet you thought McDonald's. 95% of people will say McDonald's. And you might even think or say McDonald's, even if McDonald's is not your favorite fast food restaurant or somewhere that you even ever go. Let's do it again. Think of a running shoe. Did you think Nike? Yeah, right? Isn't that crazy? I think Nike every time, and they're not my favorite shoe. I actually prefer Adidas. But that is what the mind share of the market means. So if you are a small plumber in your town and there's 4 or 5, 10 other plumbers that you are competing against, you want somebody to think of you and your company's name whenever they think of plumbing. That's what the mind share of the market is. And you can't get the mind share of your market if you're not connecting with people on a deeply emotional basis. Before we take a deep dive into what those 12 archetypes are, there are a few things that you should keep in mind. Archetypes also have an energy level. There are some that have a high energy level, mid energy level, and then a very low energy level. These are things to consider when you're choosing your archetype as well. Some of that may have to do with your personality. If you are a solopreneur, your archetype is probably going to be very closely connected to your personality or the way you make people feel, because that's just naturally the way it's going to be as a solopreneur. You are the face of your company. But it doesn't have to be that way, and you don't have to do it that way either, but it just tends to naturally happen that way sometimes. So for example, one of the archetypes is the jester archetype. We all know those really funny brands that make us laugh or try to make us laugh. That is a very high energy brand, and as you can imagine, it's pretty hard to be funny all the time or on all the time. But that is one of those brands that's really high energy. One of the lowest energy brands is called the innocent or the angel archetype. And that is a very low brand, and their emotional connection is making everything very simple and very easy to understand. And sometimes they also convey like a childlike wonder about the world. But that is a lower energy archetype. And then there's some that are in the middle. So the energy level is something you want to consider when choosing an archetype. Certain industries gravitate towards certain archetypes. And you know this even if you don't realize you know this. So if you think about going back to the jester archetype, what are most insurance companies doing with their marketing and their advertising? They're trying to make you laugh. They have funny mascots like Geico or Flo. And it seems like that once Aflac did that with the duck, they all kind of jumped on board and started using the jester archetype for their marketing. Another example would be the healthcare industry often gravitates towards the mother archetype because it's about caring and nurturing, and everybody wants their mom when they don't feel good. So that makes sense. Another one would be the guru or sage archetype. A lot of lawyers in the law industry gravitate towards that because, they are credentialed and educated and they have licensing and we know what we're talking about and we'll fight your law case, and they're often standing in suits in front of bookcases and they're like, we know the law, trust us. So that's something that's very common. So if you are in an industry that gravitates towards a certain archetype, it's okay if you don't know that right now. You will. By the end of this webinar, you will have a sense of that. But if you are in one of those industries, don't pick that archetype. And I know that seems a little counterintuitive, but you don't want to be doing what everybody else in your space is doing. You want to stand out and you want to be recognized. That underlying archetype that is prevalent in your industry is going to come through anyway because of the type of business that you do. So you don't want to pick that. You want to do something different. So those are just some things to think about as we dive into the 12 archetypes. Here we go. I'm going to start with the Jester archetype because it is the highest energy level of all the archetypes, and we will go down in energy level from here. So, the big idea of the Jester is, if you're not having fun, you're doing something wrong. Jester brands tend to grab attention. The biggest draw is usually its cleverness. The Jester is very high energy, and the one thing you can count on is that no matter what, the Jester will do the unexpected. They are not afraid to bend rules or be politically incorrect. The ultimate goal of a Jester is to bring joy to the world. They are funny all the time. And you have to keep that in mind because sometimes it's hard to be funny all the time. The Jester is also known as the clown, the trickster, the comedian, the practical joker, or if you're into tarot, the fool. So some industries that gravitate towards the Jester archetype are insurance companies, car sales, and alcohol. Some popular brands that use the Jester are Pepsi, M&M's, Frank's Red Hot, Aviation Gin, Ben & Jerry's, and pretty much every national insurance company out there, starting with Aflac. So, ask yourself this. If your business helps people have a good time, if your employees enjoy what they're doing, if your company culture allows employees to be more impulsive and spontaneous, if you have the ability to think outside the box and come up with innovative ideas, if you are a master at brainstorming, reframing concepts, and presenting new perspectives, and if you use clever or quirky methods to help people see something differently, you might be the Jester. Next up, we have the Hero archetype, pretty much on the same energy level as the Jester. The big idea here is productively, energetically, and efficiently saving the day. Hero archetypes are not only heroes to their clients, but they also make them feel like heroes in their own lives. There's that feeling of being a hero. A hero message is high energy, it oozes confidence, and triumphs over evil, or at least big obstacles. The hero can also be known as the leader, the champion, and the avenger. A few examples of brands using the hero are Nike, FedEx, Mr. Clean, the Army, Duracell batteries, and BMW. So, here's some questions to ask yourself. Does your business pride itself on helping people solve problems? Are your employees leaders? Are your products and services leadership focused? Does your organization seek out truth and justice for all types? Do your products and services intend to make the world a better place? Does your business take action quickly and help the underdog? Does your organization pride itself on productivity and efficiency? Is your organization bold and energetic? If you answer yes to most of those questions, you might want to consider the hero archetype. The next one is the outlaw archetype, one of my personal favorites. The big feeling here is freedom. Rules were made to be broken, and with no rules, you have freedom. The outlaw brand doesn't do anything in a traditional way. They find new ways to do old things that aren't working. They will even bend or break the rules and never, ever adhere to the status quo. They beg forgiveness instead of asking permission. Outlaws question authority and never apologize for being revolutionary. Outlaws make their clients feel empowered and liberated. The outlaw is also known as the rebel, the maverick, revolutionary, gambler, or activist. Some examples, which I think is an obvious one, is Zeedia Media. Also, we've got Harley Davidson, Apple, Tesla, Mountain Dew, and PayPal. So, considering the outlaw, ask yourself these questions. Is your team willing to bend or break the rules to get things done? Do your customers feel energized and revved up? Are your clients giving a freedom they didn't have before? Do your customers value innovation and risks? Are your products and services outside the box and challenging the status quo? Do people buy your products and services because they are different than everything else? If any of these or most of these are true, you might want to consider the outlaw archetype. Next, we have the magician archetype. The big idea here is transformation, making dreams come true. It's a tall order to fill, but successful magician brands deliver experiences and products that no one else can. They see things other people can't and bring them to life. The magician taps into the laws of the universe and reveals ideals, truths, and possibilities. The magician makes people feel intrigued, fascinated, and enlightened. The magician transforms lives. The magician is also known as the trickster. And I just want to take a moment here to mention that some people have a negative connotation with the word magician because they think it does mean sleight of hand or trickery or lying. And just to be clear, for the purpose of the archetypes and magician, we are really only focusing on the positive transformation aspect of it and not the trickery side of it. They're also known as the butterfly, visionary, transformer, wizard, shaman, catalyst, conjurer, and sorcerer. Some examples can include Disney World, Dyson, Snickers, and Mary Kay. So, considering the magician, let's ask some questions. Does your business provide life-changing products and services? Is your business on the cutting edge of your industry? Is your brand based on intrigue, enlightenment, renewal, rebirth, growth, or transformation? Are your products and services differentiated from competitors by providing a transformation or better way of doing things? Do your products, services, or processes feel in any way magical? If any of these are true, you might want to think about being the magician archetype. Next, we have the lover archetype, and we all know that since the beginning of time, sex has sold. Sex sells, it's flashy, it's exciting, and lots of people use it. However, it is important to note that the lover archetype is much more than just sex in marketing. It is all about passion, romance, and the senses. This brand taps into people's desires and helps them realize what they have been yearning for. Relationships are extremely important, and making connections is high priority, even if you are helping people make connections within themselves. You tap into the intimate moments in people's lives. Your products and services are inspiring, exciting, indulgent, and include the finer things in life. The lover can also be known as the seducer, the partner, the intimate, or the connector. Like most archetypes, there is more than one side to them, and the lover is no exception. The two main ones are the romance side of it, which would be Hallmark, making memories, that sort of thing. And then the other side of it is the passionate side, the sexy side, the thing that sells everything in the world, love, right? So some examples include, like we've said, Hallmark, Godiva Chocolate, Calvin Klein, Victoria's Secret, Match.com, and eHarmony, and pretty much just about every perfume out there. So if you are extremely passionate about what you do, doesn't have to be sexy, but you're passionate about it, you might want to ask yourself some of these questions. Does your business provide high-end products that encompass the senses? Is your brand based on providing a feeling of indulgence, excitement, and passion? Are your products and services differentiated from competitors by helping people connect to their desires? Do your products and services tap into the concept of romance? If any of these are true, or if you really are just extremely passionate about what you do and that comes through in everything you do, you might want to consider the lover archetype. The artist archetype is all about being creative. The big idea is to bring visions into reality with creativity and talent, and inspiring the creative side in others. That's tapping into their emotion, helping them also feel creative. Is your company driven by creativity? Are you always striving to hone your artistic abilities? No matter what the medium or products and services, you always contain elements of vision and innovation. Artist brands are both inspired and inspire others. You bring out the creative side in your clients and those around you. Individuality is high on your priority list. You are the big idea people, daydreamers. Are you constantly asking, what if? The artist is also known as the creator, maker, designer, musician, writer, dreamer, builder. Some industries that gravitate towards this archetype, and no surprise, are creatives, graphic designers, artists, and teachers. Some examples of companies that use this are Lego, Crayola, Sesame Street, and Instagram. If you know that you're very creative and artistic and you're thinking about considering this archetype, ask yourself these questions. Do your customers feel inspired by you? Does your company utilize creative processes? Do your clients want to be able to do what you do? Do your customers value uniqueness and creativity? Are your products and services creative and artistic in nature? Do people buy your products and services because they are one of a kind? If any of these or all of these are true, you might be the artist archetype. The neighbor archetype, sometimes also known as the everyday girl or everyday guy. The big idea here is everybody is invited and everyone belongs. If your business is extremely down to earth, relatable, helpful, and friendly, then you are probably the neighbor. The neighbor brand emulates unpretentiousness, is relaxed, and accepting of new things. The neighbor is easy to get along with, provides reliable customer service, is low-key yet fun to hang out with. The neighbor makes everyone feel understood and included and invokes a warm, comfortable feeling. Trust is very important to the neighbor, and that trust is achieved through familiarity, just like you would trust your neighbor to borrow the lawnmower or have a key to your house or, come over for a barbecue. You know your neighbor. The neighbor is also known as the guy or girl next door, the friend, the everyman, and the average Joe. Industries that tend to gravitate towards the neighbor archetype are the trades, because if you're going to invite somebody into your home to work on your dishwasher or your plumbing or give you a new roof, you need to trust them and you need to like them. Also, bars and restaurants and community organizations are popularly the neighbor archetype. So, does it sound like you? Ask yourself these questions. Is your business easy to understand? Are you seen as trustworthy because you're just so easy to work with? Do your employees generally like each other? Does your company culture promote teamwork and listening? Do you have the ability to provide trustworthy, reliable customer service? Are you a master at being unpretentious and easygoing? Do you use empathy to relate to employees and customers? If this sounds like you might be the neighbor archetype. The next archetype is the mother archetype. The big idea here is do nice things for others and be caring. The mother brand's number one priority is service. They are nurturing, supportive, and compassionate. The mother brand's purpose is to focus on others. Clients and customers feel cared about and cared for. You always have their back. If you're a guide, if you hold their hand and see them through every step of the process from start to finish, you are likely a mother archetype. The mother archetype is the one standout choice if your singular focus is high-touch customer service. The mother is also known as the caregiver, doctor, healer, matron, grandmother, mom, parent, caretaker, or nanny. Some industries that gravitate towards the mother are the healthcare industry and many nonprofits. Examples include Campbell Soup, Dove Soap, Habitat for Humanity, Salvation Army, and Allstate, a rare insurance company that didn't choose the jester. Are you feeling motherly in your brand? Ask yourself some of these questions. Do your customers feel supported and cared for? Is customer service a high priority? Do your customers value security and loyalty? Are your products and services supportive, healthy, or service-oriented? Do people buy your products and services because they are part of the family? If your number one priority is high-touch customer service and to make people feel cared for, you might just be the mother archetype. Next, we have the guru archetype and often called the sage archetype. The big idea here is the truth will set you free. The guru uses the gifts of wisdom and intelligence to distinguish truth from illusion. The guru helps his customers make smarter decisions. Gurus seek information through study, due diligence, objectivity, analysis, and self-reflection. There is a lot of trust involved in being the guru, but unlike the neighbor whose trust is built on familiarity, the trust for a guru is based on your perceived knowledge and experience. People feel smarter by being around you, and they feel that you help them make sense of the world. It's also known as the teacher, the scholar, the expert, the detective, and of course, the sage. Industries that gravitate towards the guru archetype are lawyers, educational institutions like schools and universities, and news sources. Examples include the Wall Street Journal, Google, CNN, Oprah, SpaceX, and the Best Buy's Geek Squad. If you are feeling particularly knowledgeable and guru-like, ask yourself some of these questions. Does your business provide expertise and information to your customers? Does your business encourage customers and clients to think? Is your brand based on a new scientific breakthrough or revolutionary idea? Are your products and services differentiated from competitors whose quality or performance is questionable? Do you instill trust and confidence in your customers based on your experience? Next up, we have the Explorer archetype. The big idea here is be ambitious and true to your soul. Seek new vistas because you are worth it. Others may be resistant to change, but not the Explorer. These brands find fulfillment through discovery and new experiences. They are open-minded, tolerant, and always striving for the next best thing or experience. Explorer brands have products that are just as much about the experience as they are about the actual product. The Explorer provides products, services, and experiences to their customers because their customers deserve them. People will be willing to pay a little more for the product or service because it makes them feel special and valued. The Explorer is also known as the adventurer, pioneer, seeker, wanderer, individualist, pilgrim, trailblazer, and anything else that you can think of where you're traversing the world. The two sides to keep in mind for this archetype are the physical side and the experience side. So there's the physical side, like you're going out into the world, you're doing something, think like Patagonia, camping equipment, mountain biking, and maybe a travel company. And then you have the experience side of it, which a great example is Starbucks. So you're going to choose to go into Starbucks and pay more money for a coffee because you can have it exactly the way that you want it with your sprinkle of nutmeg and triple shot of espresso, and you're going to get your name written on it, and there's the smells and the free Wi-Fi and the whole experience of Starbucks. That is also the Explorer archetype. If you're thinking that the Explorer sounds like your brand, ask yourself some questions. Do your customers feel adventurous, cultured, amazed, and alive? Are your customers willing to pay more for your products or services because of how it makes them feel? If you can hear your customers say, I have no limits. Are your products and services exciting and daring? Are they of a higher caliber than your competition? Do people buy your products and services because they deserve it? If so, you might be the Explorer archetype. Second to last on the 12 archetype list is the Ruler archetype. This brand's big idea is, we've got the power. The Ruler brand is refined and values the finer things in life. It inspires people to do more, achieve more, and create a better life for themselves. The Ruler values rules and order and systems. You will be more successful by just being around them. Ruler brands are typically the best in their class and set industry standards. The Ruler oozes power and dominance. There is no mediocrity here. You are either with them or they don't care. They will still be the best. They're also known as the executive, upper class, monarch, king, czar, or royal. Some examples of these are General Motors, Hugo Boss, Mercedes-Benz, IBM, and American Express. If you're feeling like the Ruler and you think your brand can handle it, ask yourself some of these questions. Does your business set the standards of excellence in your industry? Is your business refined and high achieving? Does your company culture believe rules are important and meant to be followed? Is your brand based on leveraging authority to maintain success? If you are number one. Are your products and services differentiated from competitors by providing something that is just simply better because you do things better? Is your market dominance a key to your success? If any or all of these things are true, you might be the ruler archetype. The last archetype we are going to talk about today is the innocent archetype, or fondly referred to as the angel archetype. The big idea here is that life does not have to be complicated. We can seek simplicity and to be chaos-free. The innocent brand is all about making things simple, happy, and optimistic. It brings things back to simpler times and offers a breath of fresh air against the competition. Companies who adopt the innocent brand are straightforward, transparent, and trustworthy. They make people feel positive and produce a feeling of contentment. Strong values are very important to this brand. Removing chaos from life is their ultimate goal. They're also known as the traditionalist, the purist, or the idealist. Industries that tend to gravitate towards the innocent archetype are green companies, health foods, and many products targeted at children. Some examples are Coca-Cola, Chobani, Ivory, Snuggle, and Tom's of Maine. If you are feeling very simplistic and chaos-free, ask yourself some of these questions. Does your business provide happy, simple experiences? Does your business encourage a feeling of contentment? Is your brand based on providing a breath of fresh air? Are your products and services differentiated from competition by being highly trustworthy, fun, simple, and positive? Are your processes simple and chaos-free? Does this sound like you? You might be the innocent archetype. All right, now that we have the basis for those 12 main archetypes, you probably have a better understanding of where your brand might be leaning. One of those might have jumped out at you and been like, oh, that is so me. Or you may have felt like, I could see myself doing that. Or maybe you're still just kind of lost and you're like, I really don't have any clue. And all of those scenarios are perfectly fine because I'm going to explain now how you actually choose your archetype. And it will take you 90 minutes or less to do it. It's not going to take me 90 minutes to explain it in this webinar, but the process takes 90 minutes or less to figure out your archetype, which is really exciting because, again, this is all about making it simpler and easier and more powerful. Ideally, people would choose their archetype before they ever named their company or started any of their marketing, right? But that doesn't happen because of all the things we talked about earlier about having to just get started and get going and start making some money. But your archetype and your brand should permeate everything you do in your business. And when I say everything, I do mean everything. To how you answer your phone, your outgoing voicemail message, your email signature, of course, all your forward-facing marketing things like your website, social media, content, graphic design, all of that kind of stuff. Even the color that you paint your boardroom should be a consideration of your archetype. I've even had clients that have gone through my process. They have a really strong locked-in archetype brand, and a year or two down the road, they'll call me and they're like, hey, Amy, I'm going to buy a new car, and I was wondering if we could brainstorm about what cars would best reflect my archetype. And when that happens, it's actually happened to me 3 times with clients. And when that has happened, I feel like, yes, they have it. They've got it. And that is so exciting. I always tell people the harder and the stronger you lean into your archetype, the better your marketing and your branding is going to be. And if you feel like you're being silly and you're doing it way too much and it's too obvious, it's probably just right. So, how do you figure out what your archetype is? Let's get started on that. The first step in figuring out what your archetype is for your brand, you've already done. You can check something off your list. You've discovered what an archetype is and why it is so important for your brand, and that you need to convey an emotional connection with the people that you're marketing to. So, all right, step 1, done. Step 2, it's free. Go to brandarchetypes.com. And in the left-hand corner, up at the top, there's a questionnaire. It's free. Take it. It's really fun. It'll only take you a few minutes. And don't spend a whole lot of time. Don't overthink it. Just answer the questions kind of quickly as they come to you with your business hat on, thinking about everything that has to do with those questions through the lens of your business. If you are a solopreneur, it will be handy for you to have your best friend, your significant other, maybe some key clients or other people, networking partners, things like that, other people who do know your business fairly well, to take that questionnaire on your behalf as well. It's fun to compare answers, and it's always nice to work with somebody else and not think about these things in a vacuum. What you will probably see is that when other people take this questionnaire for you, your answers are all over the place. And that's okay, because your brand has probably been all over the place until this point, and that's okay, that's normal. The same goes for a small business where there's a team of people, maybe co-owners, or maybe a larger team that is making this decision. But when you start this brand discovery process, you want to have all of the stakeholders or key decision makers involved in the process, because it would be terrible to go through this process, choose an archetype, and then have one of the people come and say, you know what, I wasn't part of that process, I don't like that archetype. And then you have to do it all over again. So just make sure that everybody who's on your team is on board and starts this process together. So that's step 2. Take that questionnaire. You get your results immediately, and then it lists the 12 archetypes in order based on your answers. And it has a link. Each archetype word is a link to the page on the brandarchetypes.com website that explains that brand in depth and in detail, just like we just went through. The real point of that exercise in that questionnaire is to eliminate the bottom 6 archetypes. It's very rare that somebody will take that quiz, get their results, and be like, oh, yep, I'm just going to be that top archetype. We're good, done and done. That is very rare. Sometimes it happens, or maybe you really already have a strong instinct for what your archetype is or is going to be. Take the questionnaire anyway. It's really fun. And there are really good reasons to look at potential different archetypes for your business, because you also want to consider what your competition is doing and what your industry is doing. So it's good to have a couple options before you dial it in. All right, so go take that questionnaire. It's free. All right. The third step in discovering your archetype is to schedule a brand discovery session with me. I charge $300 for this session. But good news, because you're watching this webinar right now and you've spent this time with me, I am going to give you $25 off. So the discount code is MOPSTRESS25. So use that to get $25 off of your brand discovery session with me. In the brand discovery session, like I said, you want all of your team members and key stakeholders in that session. It is basically a giant brainstorming session. We're going to put all kinds of words up on the screen. We're going to color code them. We're going to move them around. We're going to categorize them. And we're going to talk about all kinds of cool things about your business. And at the end, the archetype almost always reveals itself. It's really cool and it's kind of magical. Often another common thing that happens is that like 2 archetypes will kind of emerge, or 3. And as a group, we discuss what your brand and what your marketing would look like with each one of those 3 archetypes. And then we talk about maybe some competition, what they might be doing, how those archetypes would go up against this other competition, talk about energy level, and all the other things we discussed earlier in this webinar. And because we put all of these amazing words and things up there, often a really strong tagline or slogan is also generated by that session. So that's kind of like a freebie that you get through that if you like that slogan that we come up with. In addition, a couple free things that you get because you joined this webinar, you get a word bank from me. So I sell these on my website, and I have 12 different ones, one for each archetype, and they are just pages and pages and pages and pages of words and phrases that are associated with that particular archetype. And these have been curated over many, many years and lots of sessions like I just described, and they're very helpful. So that is another thing that you get. And then I also give a analysis of your current website, if you have one, and what it is currently showing as an archetype, if it is at all. Sometimes they're not really showing an archetype at all, or it might be really subtle, but I give you a pretty good deep dive analysis of your website currently. And then if you choose a different archetype or a new one, I'd give you a new analysis and a report on how you can make your website more in alignment with your archetype that you chose. So those are some freebies that you get because you spent all this time with me here today. Step 4 of your brand is implementation. And this is really the hard part. right? So now that you know what your brand archetype is, you know the emotional connection to it, you know the energy level, and how it relates to your competition in your industry, how do you now bring that to life? So I provide a checklist of ways to start, and usually how I start is with your website. So you take the brand word bank that I gave you. Usually I tell people print out the word bank and get a highlighter and go through it. Again, quickly, don't put too much thought into it, but just highlight all the words that jump out at you from the page that you really like, that you think really relate to your business. Some of those might be the same words that you discovered in your brand discovery session. Then take all those highlighted words and put them in a new document, and that becomes your Bible or your word reference for your brand, and you can add to it, subtract it. It's a living document. It will continue to grow and change as you really dial in your brand. So then you look at your website, because that is the most forward-facing, largest marketing asset and tool that you have that your clients see. I usually start with that. Well, let me back up. Sometimes we start with the name of your business, right? Does the name of your business reflect your archetype? Chances are it might not, because again, you didn't think about archetypes before you named your company. Very rarely do I ever get people to change the name of their business. I understand that that's a very hard, lengthy, and can sometimes be an expensive process, and we kind of get attached to our business names. That's okay. There are ways that you can still bring the name of your business around. You can shorten it. Sometimes you can create a really good tagline that you use a little bit more. There are different things that we can do. And then we look at your brand assets, like your logo, your colors, your fonts, and are all those reflecting the archetype and the energy of your archetype that you chose? And those often just require a little tweaking. So for example, if you had very bold primary colors and you chose a quieter, more subdued archetype, we might just soften up those colors a little bit, round out the edges, things like that. Same goes for fonts and different things like that. So we'll look at all your brand assets and those things that you use and dial it into your new chosen archetype. And then we look at your website. The easiest thing to kind of do is look at all the content on your website, start with your homepage, and take your content and see how many of those words from your new brand Bible that you can pepper in to that content to see how you can just slowly bring it around to feeling more like the archetype. Then you look at things like your imagery, your calls to action, and all those things, and you really just start to dial in all the pieces of your website and all the pieces of your messaging. So you start with your website, and then you usually go to your socials, maybe your business cards, any forward-facing things, marketing, literature, brochures, all that kind of stuff. It does take a while. It's not going to happen overnight. Usually a 3 to 6 month process is how it happens. You know, a lot of my clients, once they go through the brand discovery session, they want to give it a try on their own. They're like, Amy, this has been great insight. We have a handle on what our brand is. We're going to give this a shot. Other times I partner with clients to do it together. And then other times they just hire me to do it all because they're busy and they got things to do and they want me to take care of it. So there's lots of different options. There can be do it yourself. You can hire me, or you can do kind of a combination of those. And I'm always available as well to just give me a quick shout out, or send me an email and just say, hey, Amy, remember my session? This is my business. I'm thinking about this for my name, or I'm thinking about this for my tagline, or what do you think? And I love that stuff, and I will get back to you as soon as I can, because those conversations are great. Or you can always sign up for a 15-minute, just quick, brainstorming session, free, on my calendar, and we can troubleshoot some of those things. So you have lots and lots of options for how to implement this brand. But I promise you, once you choose your archetype, there's no going back. And you won't be able to see your brand in any other way but through the lens of this archetype. And the thing that makes it so easy is that once you create anything for your brand or your marketing, all you have to ask yourself is this insert archetype enough? So if you create a new brochure and say your archetype is the guru or the sage, you can be like, is this brochure sage enough? Does it have enough analytics? Is it really conveying what we're doing? Does it show the background in our expertise or not? And you will know, not because you're a brand marketing expert now, but because you're human. And that's the beauty of archetypes, is that we all understand them in the same way because we're human. And any new team members that you bring on, or any marketing experts that you hire, maybe you want a new logo and you're like, hey, by the way, this is my archetype, so please use it when creating my logo. They will be amazed that you provide that information for them, and they will love it. But it will only take you 5 minutes or less to explain your brand and your messaging and your concept to any new hire or client or anything like that, because we're all human and we're all in this together. So now that I have explained to you what an archetype is, why it is crucial for the brand of your business, and how to choose your archetype, are you ready to get started? I really hope you are. I would love to see you pop up on my calendar for a brand discovery session. If you want more information or you just want to talk about this more, or you're like, Amy, I'm not quite feeling it, I just need a little more information, then please reach out to me. My contact information is here, and I will go back to you as soon as possible and we can talk more about this. Remember, the first step, you've already done it. You understand archetypes now. The second step is free, the questionnaire. Go take it right now and send the link to your business partners, your significant other, your friends, whoever you think can help you in this journey of discovering your brand. If you're a solo, again, it's important to ask maybe a couple friends to help you because it's fun to work together. By signing up for the discovery session, you and your team get to experience the ultimate team building experience. We don't have trust falls, we don't have uncomfortable icebreakers, nobody's going to be doing some weird zip lining, but it will bring your team together and it will get you all on the same page for your brand. And don't forget, use the code MOPSTRESS25 to get $25 off and the freebies. Here's the link. You just go right to my calendar, you schedule it, you pay right there, and then you get to talk to me in person. It's really exciting, and you will not ever be able to look at your brand or other people's brands in the same way ever again. You won't be able to not see it. It's really fun. So you're going to get a lot of free stuff. You're going to get my undivided attention at least for 90 minutes. And we're going to talk so much about your marketing and your brand. It's going to be really exciting. And it's stuff that you can start doing immediately to implement your brand and start making a stronger connection with your clients so that you're memorable. I really want your business to be successful. I want you to have all of the things that you dreamt about when you first started your business, and I want it to be easy for you. I do not want you to lose sleep, time, or money over marketing. You don't have to. You just need a really good strategy. Hope to see you on my calendar.